is Richard Kirk, and I'm the founder of Workplus, and I'm really excited to see so many of you here today to explore what apprenticeships might mean for you or for someone that you're encouraging to apply to an apprenticeship, and to find out a bit more and really to answer your questions as well. I'm joined today by my colleague, Lucy Marshall, and Lucy will take us through the application process shortly. But really, what we want to do at the outset is to think a little bit about what apprenticeships are. So, from the very start, an apprenticeship is a job. That's a common misunderstanding. Some people think it's a training program with a bit of work experience, but an apprenticeship is a job from day one. And over the last few years, we've met hundreds of apprentices that are getting the best of both worlds. They're working typically 4 days per week, and then 1 day a week they're going to college or university to get their education alongside working. And it's great to see a growing number of employers wanting to bring apprentices into their business. It's really exciting for us to see that. But the frustration has often been it's very hard to know how to apply for an apprenticeship. You can apply to the college or the university directly, but there's no guarantee there that they'll tie you up with an appropriate employer. So what we've done at Workplus is to put the employers front and center. We find the employers so you don't have to. The employers that we work with are in multiple sectors, and they are creating apprenticeships that are live to apply for right now. So it's really exciting that we have so many people interested in applying for apprenticeships. And today's session is really a chance for you to ask your questions. So please use the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of your screen. Type in your question as we go through today's session. And then at the very end, we'll pick up the questions and answer those as best we can for you. So without further ado, I want to hand over to my colleague, Lucy Marshall. Lucy is our community manager and does brilliant work both with employers and with our schools, parents, employability organisations across Northern Ireland. And Lucy's going to take you through the process. And as I said already, please type your questions in and we'll pick those up when we come to an end. So Lucy, over to you.
Thank you, Richard. Hi, everyone. It is really great to be joining you this afternoon to help you as you think about applying for apprenticeships through Workplus. So hopefully most of you have already been on the website and you've already discovered how you apply for an apprenticeship. But over the next 15-20 minutes or so, I'll be walking you through the application process, giving you a few more tips and tricks along the way so that you can think about how you can make the most of your application. As Richard mentioned, we know that it can be hard to know where to start when you're making an application for an apprenticeship, and we want to help support you in that and help make it as easy for you as possible. So hopefully you already know that there are 2 steps for applying for an apprenticeship. The first step is to apply for a job opportunity. You need an employer because you are a full-time employee as an apprentice. And then the second step is to apply to the training provider. And that's where you apply directly to the university or the college where you would like to take your apprenticeship training to work towards that further qualification that is fully funded by the government for your apprenticeship. So the next few slides are going to work through that process along with you. Maybe you can follow along on your own device on the Workplus website, or maybe you're joining today and you've already made your application to Workplus, but this will be a useful refresher to just make sure that you've done everything, that all your ducks are in a row for making sure that that apprenticeship application is all ready to go, and hopefully you're in for a chance for getting invited for an interview or even being successful with an apprenticeship. So let's look at step 1 where you're applying for the job opportunity. As you know as well, there's an application deadline for Workplus where you must apply within that deadline to the within the deadline to the job opportunity with Workplus. And that deadline this year is the 23rd of February. So do make sure that you've correctly submitted your application. Double check that you've received that email to say that your application has been successfully submitted. Double check that your dashboard on the Workplus login reflects your completed applications before the deadline to apply. After the application deadline, it's over to the employers when they work behind the scenes with the shortlisting process, looking through the applications that they received. And then from the 4th of March, you might be contacted by an employer to hear if you've been successful at the interview stage and if they would like to invite you to interview. So keep an eye on your emails, keep an eye on your phone going off, and do reply to any employers that contact you and wish to be in touch about an interview. And then following that, from the end of March, from the 25th of March at the earliest, you could have a job opportunity as an apprentice. How lovely would it be to go into your final exams, maybe if you're a school leaver, or just go into the next few months before apprenticeships tend to start around September time, just knowing that you have that place with an employer, knowing that you've been successful. So that's a quick walk through the timeline, and hopefully that's something that you're already familiar with and that you know those dates and those key time frames within the timelines that all the employers that are part of Workplus sign up to be involved in. So onto the website, onto the opportunities that you can explore. This year on Workplus, we have 107 opportunities that are available for you to apply to. There are a range of opportunities in all kinds of sectors, from manufacturing to engineering, from business to accounting. There's a range of software and cyber opportunities as well. There's a whole range of sectors for you to explore and apply to. On the website, you can see a list of these opportunities, and you can also see a map view. So maybe you're based across Northern Ireland and you're really keen to explore what local opportunities there are to you, or what opportunities there are with your local training provider or college. Have a look at the map view and see if there's any opportunities that match your interests. Over the next few slides, I'm just going to walk through a handful of the opportunities that are on our website to highlight some of these different sectors that companies are representing. This is just a small taste of those 107 opportunities. So do make time to go on and explore all those opportunities and see what fits your eligibility as well as what fits your interests. Here you can see there's opportunities in things like engineering, as well as opportunities at a lower level, so entry level after your GCSEs, in things like professional chef or professional cookery. Opportunities in business admin, again at an entry level, so applying after you've a small number of GCSEs. There's entry-level opportunities in civil engineering, which have great progression routes onto higher level apprenticeships where you can work towards a degree, as well as those higher level apprenticeships, some that start at level 5 or level which is foundation degree, or level 6, which is your bachelor's degree. And your bachelor's degree is your typical undergraduate qualification that most people would study full-time at university towards. There are a whole range of options. There are a whole range of opportunities. A lot of companies this year are hiring more than one apprentice, which we're really excited to see, where you could be starting in a company, a small organisation, to a larger organisation with a number of other apprentices, all on that same journey in that same cohort with you. There are a range of options, as I touched on. There's a range of courses for apprenticeships, and there's so much for you to explore on the website across these sectors. Do check out these job descriptions, check out these opportunities and see if there's something that fits you. I've walked through there some of the entry-level opportunities. So those are level 2 or level 3, which are for after GCSEs. And then also I've mentioned some of the higher level apprenticeship opportunities, which are level 5 foundation degree or level 6 bachelor's degree. This year we also have a number of level 7 opportunities, and those are master's degree level. So that means that you're only eligible to apply if you already have an undergraduate degree. Every year we have people applying for these opportunities and they're maybe not eligible or they haven't looked carefully to see what level that apprenticeship is. Please do double check your eligibility before you apply. But the level 7 opportunities are a great pathway for people who already have an undergraduate degree. They've gone to university or they've completed a higher level apprenticeship and they're keen to upskill themselves to gain another qualification at master's level. Again, when you're looking at the opportunities, you can see the location of that opportunity. So just a reminder to check, is it feasible for you to travel to that opportunity? When you're applying to this job or this company, is that something that might work for you come September time, depending on what your plans are? You'll see, as well as the Apply to Job tab on each opportunity on the Workplus website, there is also an Apply to Course tab. And under this Apply to Course tab, there is a list of the different universities or colleges that offer that apprenticeship. That list will take you through to a whole page of information about that particular course, whether that's module information, entry criteria, admissions information, and any other further information that you might need, that's all contained within that page. And then if you scroll to the bottom of that particular course that you have clicked on, you'll see at the bottom this blue box that says apply to this course. That is a link that will take you to an external website. So that'll take you to, for example, Queen's website, where they have their separate application process to complete to apply to the civil engineering course, as this example is for their apprenticeship at Queen's. So you must complete that separate application to the training provider. Here is a screenshot just of where that link takes you. So this is Queen's website, and then there you'll find information about how to apply and where to apply on that page. So you must complete that separate application there. Again, just to walk through that for a second opportunity, or as a second example, here's a pensions associate role with 3173. They're taking on around 20 apprentices this year, so that'll be a great cohort to be part of if that is something that you're interested in. And again, if we click the Apply to Course tab, we'll see the relevant course, which for this apprenticeship job opportunity is the Leading Customer Operations course at Ulster. And by scrolling down through that page, you'll find the relevant link and the relevant button that will take you directly to their external Ulster University website, where you will make your application to the part-time course on their website. You don't apply through UCAS to the apprenticeship courses, you apply directly on their website. This Leading on Customer Operations course is a very similar course to a business management course, and recently we were chatting to the course director who was telling us about how she notices the difference in her apprentices on that course compared to full-time students. She says that knowledge is key, is as cheap as chips these days. It's confidence that is key. She says knowledge is as cheap as chips these days. Confidence is key. And she sees the experience that the apprentices on that cohort have had and how that has just brought out so much confidence in them. So if that matches your interests, Leading on Customer Operations is a great business management like apprenticeship to think about applying to. So to look at the particular job descriptions on an opportunity in a bit more detail, so we're just under the Apply to Job tab here. You'll see on the website there is a range of information from the location and the salary, as I mentioned, as well as the job description and the person specification for each job opportunity. As you read this information, have a look to see if it matches where your skills lie. Think about what they're looking for and whether you think you could sell yourself as being that kind of person in a job interview. It's a really exciting way for you to read something and think, oh, I think I could do that, or I think that matches my interests. Again, thinking about how apprenticeships are not just about having that knowledge or not just about knowing the theory behind something, but about having the opportunity to grow and develop in skills in the workplace, because that's what the workplace is. That's the real world where you're putting your learning into practice. Have a look through the job descriptions and person specs. And as well, maybe that's a good opportunity to chat to your careers teacher or to chat to a parent or a friend about whether they think that particular job could match your interests and your skills as well. Do make sure that you read those job descriptions in details before you start making your application, just to make it as relevant and as helpful as possible for you. Once you've looked through a particular job description and you've decided, yes, I want to go for this, I want to make my application, you can click the blue button there at the bottom of that page on the opportunity, which says Apply to Workplus. When you click Apply to Workplus, you will be able to see so just go through here. You can see some of the YouTube videos as well, sorry, just to flag those up with you, that we have for each opportunity as you look through and try to hear stories from apprentices and employers. So there's a whole range of information there on the website for you to explore, as well as exploring the employer profile pages that touch on some of that information in more detail about that particular company. So just to go back a few slides here. You will see this example of this employer profile page of 3173, this pensions company who are looking for 20 apprentices to join their business. And there's so much information there on their profile pages. So don't miss the chance to explore those before you apply. After you've looked at the job description, make sure that you explore the company profiles to find out if those are places that you'd see yourself working in and being an apprentice, as well as then going on to the Workplus YouTube channel, which you can access through the Workplus website to find out more about those stories. But yes, once you've looked through all of that, once you've looked through the job descriptions, once you've looked through the employer profile pages, you can then begin your application to Workplus. And you can just do that by going onto the main Workplus site and main Workplus homepage and clicking on the top right to create your account or to log in. You go to the applicant login section and you will enter your email address, and then you will receive a PIN code to your email address. And that's the first steps to starting your Workplus application. Here you will see the Workplus dashboard, this dashboard that I mentioned earlier, where you can track your progress on your application, and you can just double check to make sure that you have successfully completed that application or successfully you can download your application there. You can do a whole load of things, but just to make sure that you've definitely successfully completed it. But this is, where you can track your application. You'll then see once you start that application through Workplus, is that at the very beginning of that process, we give you an outline of the kinds of information that we'll be asking of you, from questions that you'll be asked to a bit of a heads up of how long we might expect it to take. As you're going through this process as well, and before you start, know that you can have support from Disability Action if that is something that you would like to avail of. There's a bit of text of information there on the dashboard of where you can find out that information. And as well as you're looking through what the application is asking of you and what you'll be required to fill in, just know that you can work on this in a draft form, maybe in a Google Doc or something similar, so that you can easily share it with other people to ask for their advice or to get somebody to read through your application. I know that when I'm doing important forms or different things, it can be really helpful to have somebody else to check over, because it's so easy to have a typo in there or to miss something. So do think about inviting somebody else into that process with you, asking for help or asking someone to read over something about how you can make it the best it can be. Once you have an idea then of what questions you'll be asked and you're ready to start working on your application, you can start your application by completing kind of general contact information about yourself, from your date of birth to your address, as well as phone number, and just agreeing to the Workplus terms and conditions and privacy policy. Once you've completed those details, we'll ask you to enter your qualifications. And your qualifications are just any grades that you have so far, and whether you've completed those in school recently or whether you're a career changer and your qualifications go back a few years. there's a helpful kind of 1, 2, 3 step here, or 1, 2, 3 process to help you as you enter your qualifications. There is also a chat function. There you can see the little yellow chat icon in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. And you can just click on that at any stage if you're having difficulty finding your qualification, and you'll be through to us at the Workplus team and we can help support you. As well, if your qualification isn't in the list, we can help you add that, or we can add that at our end so that you can input it into your qualification section. All these qualifications will need to be checked and confirmed by the training provider, so by the university or the college, around results day in August, just to make sure that you meet the entry criteria for their course. But at this stage, this is your Workplus application that goes towards employers, and it's helpful for them to see the types of qualifications that you have, as well as any predicted grades or pending grades. And if you have predicted grades or pending grades, you'll see there under kind of number 2 of that 1, 2, 3 process, that we advise you to enter your predicted grades or your pending grades, and then just put the date as the future. So put it as 2024 if you're waiting for those grades to be confirmed. As you enter your qualifications in this search bar, you might find that you realize that, or you pick up that there's a certain format to entering them. Again, just play about with different things. If you're looking for your GCSE maths qualification, it might be more helpful to start entering GCSE mathematics, or entering the exact exam accreditation body that you completed that with. So for example, SEA GCSE mathematics. That should hopefully give you a quick tip as to how to make that process as seamless as possible. But as I said, there's a chat function there that takes you through to the Workplus team, and we will help support you. As you enter your qualifications, you'll see that the drop-down list appears, and again, hopefully that will help you enter them in the exact format that's required before you can select on them, and then enter your grade, your school, as well as the date that you received that qualification. As you enter each qualification, you will get a nice yellow message to say that it's been added, and then you'll see that they are kind of grayed out in the bottom of the screen, and then you just need to keep adding your qualifications until you're happy that all your qualifications are accurate and have been added, at which stage you then click List Complete at the bottom, and that'll take you through to the next page. So this next section of your Workplus application profile is the employment and work experience section, and it will help outline or give you an opportunity to outline any work experience or any part-time jobs or employment that you've previously held. This is a great chance for you to talk about the skills that you had when you were working in that job, how you maybe worked with other people in a team, how you benefited from the role and growing in skills, or had your eyes open to certain things that you just can't learn when you're just learning theory. It's a great opportunity for you to show the different employers that you're applying to through Workplus about the kind of person that you are and what fit you might bring to their company culture, their team. So do think about what you're saying here carefully, and think about how that demonstrates to an employer that you would be someone worth interviewing or thinking through inviting to that interview process. You'll see a variety of questions here, and that gives you the opportunity to show your skills through the work experience that you've completed. Again, just to emphasize, this is an opportunity for you to talk about paid employment, but also any work shadowing that you've done, or you could even include volunteering in here as well, and just say that it was in a volunteer capacity. Once you've completed that section, you can click Save, which will take you through to the next part of your Workplus application, which is the additional information section. So again, you got a heads up of these questions just as you started your Workplus profile, but these are the longer 150-word answer questions, of which there are 5 that employers will use as they think about what which applicants they would like to invite for interview. So there's questions there from examples of when you worked as part of a team to when you were in a stressful situation and thinking about an answer of how you managed that stressful situation. There you'll see that there's a word count for each question, and we would really encourage you to use all those words. Don't just write a sentence or two in your answer. Really make the most of that word count and include all 150 words or as close to it as possible. You've maybe already worked on different job applications, or you've completed a UCAS application. And again, you can use information from those parts to use in your Workplus application. So hopefully you don't have to start thinking of things from scratch, but you can tailor them to the questions to highlight to employers the type of person that you are and how they would love having you as part of a team. Do think about the examples that you use here or the ways that you're talking about yourself. It's a great opportunity to be creative as well as showing the particular interest that you have in their industry or sector, or the particular companies that you might be wanting to apply to. And think about what might grab their attention as well as ways that they're intrigued to find out more about you and maybe ask you follow-up questions to some of these areas in a job interview for the apprenticeship. So do think carefully about your examples. And again, the key thing is that employers want to see the passion that you have for that particular industry, the passion you have for an apprenticeship and choosing that route, and how an apprenticeship is not just your backup option, but an apprenticeship is your first choice, and that you're just so excited to get on that road to a head start in your career. Try and communicate those things as you think about these answers. They want to see the person that you are and the personality that you have and the skills that you can bring, whether those are soft skills or technical skills. Think about the work experience that you've done as well and touch on that again in these answers. But do think carefully about these longer questions in your application. Do ask your careers teacher for help or advice. Do ask your parents to read over your answers and think about any other scenarios or examples that you might have not thought about that could be a really good opportunity for you to show the kind of person that you are. Once you've completed those questions, there'll be a few shorter questions to ask, such as if you're permitted to drive, as well as how you heard about Workplus and the right to work. Once you've completed those and once you've completed the monitoring question and the declaration, you will be taken back to your Workplus dashboard. And again, here, remember, this is the place where you can track your progress of your application. You'll see there that the number 0 is still a 0. It hasn't turned to 1 yet in the blue circle that says complete. And that is because you've only completed the profile part of your application up to this point. You haven't actually applied yet to the apprenticeship. And so it's really important that you don't think that that's you finished there. That is an incomplete application at this stage. And so what you need to do is you need to click on the red button which says apply to apprenticeship. And then that takes you through to the next screen where you select the apprenticeship type of that particular apprenticeship that you're applying to. If you're not sure out of the drop-down list which apprenticeship type you're applying to, just go back to the job description or the job opportunity on Workplus, and there you'll see in the light blue box, apprenticeship type, leading customer operations, level 6. So that information is just then in the drop-down. You're able to select it, and then you will be taken through to the next page, which is the employer ranking. At Workplus, we rank the different, or give you the opportunity to rank the different employers, because there will be multiple employers that you might like to apply to that all have opportunities in the same apprenticeship type. So then this is your opportunity to rank them. Where's your first preference? Where maybe it's just not feasible for you to get to or travel to, or what opportunities, what employers do you want to remove from your ranking? So once you've sorted those rankings, you will then see a revised list. And we really do encourage you to think about this carefully, because employers see which particular place you've kind of selected for them to be in your ranking, and they do use that when they complete their shortlisting processes. You'll also see that you have a list of the companies that you've removed from your ranking. So maybe I've decided that I don't want to travel around to these different branches, but I'm okay with the list, and I'm okay with the other options in the top three choices. Then you'll be taken through to a page which is just flagging up and reminding you that you must complete a job or an application separate to the job. So you must complete one to the training provider, which is to the university or the college. So again, remember that for that particular opportunity I'm applying to with 3173, I must apply to this leading customer operations course at Ulster. So once I've ticked the box to say I've made that application, and we would recommend that you do that at the same time as your Workplus application. And once you've done that, then there is this last question that you can tailor to the specific apprenticeship that you're applying to. So here you've got 150 words to again communicate why this apprenticeship is right for you and why you're really keen to start on your career path through this apprenticeship or in this industry. So talk about the specific interest that you have for that apprenticeship. And again, if you want to make multiple applications, you can have a look at the different job descriptions of the specific apprenticeship there that you're applying to so that you can make your answer in this question tailored to that specific job role. But if you want to make multiple applications, you can just click on the red apply for apprenticeship button again, and then you can apply to another opportunity and then tailor that last question again to that specific apprenticeship opportunity. So do think carefully about which apprenticeships you're applying to though. Don't just select them all and apply to them all. This is you applying to a job. So do think, is this something that I seriously want to apply to and be interviewed for? Is this at the right level for me? Is this suitable in terms of the qualifications I already have and suitable in terms of the qualifications that you will have by the time you start? So think carefully about the apprenticeship that you're applying to, but you can apply to more than one apprenticeship type. And then you can complete your employer ranking again, and then complete that last question of why you want to apply for that specific type of apprenticeship again. So that's a tailor-made question to each apprenticeship type. And once you've completed that, again, you'll get that thank you message, which just means that you have successfully completed the application. You've completed your profile, you've completed the apprenticeship application, and that is then where you see that number one in the complete blue circle. So again, it's nice to know that you've made it to that point. You've got your application in. But you'll also see a table at the bottom of your dashboard where you can download your application if you want to print it off to just double check it with somebody else, or you can edit your application up until the deadline of the 23rd of February. So that edit button is there for you if you would like to, and as well after the deadline or before the deadline, if you choose to not complete that application or you want to withdraw your application, you can just delete it at any stage. And that means that you're respecting the time of the employers if they're looking through your application and you know that you're not actually you're wanting to follow through with that. So we do ask that you would withdraw or delete your application if you decide that it's not for you. There is one final step to your Workplus application, and so while you have completed your application at this stage and while employers will still see your application, we would encourage you to complete your aptitude test. And so for the aptitude test, you will see a yellow box in your dashboard. It's not coming up for me here on the slide just because I have already completed it. Or actually, sorry, there's the yellow box. So you'll see the suitability assessment where it's inviting you to complete that suitability assessment, that aptitude test. If you haven't yet already done so, it disappears once you've completed it. And we would say that we would encourage you to complete this suitability assessment because employers want to see what kind of person you are, not just from how you communicate yourself in a written format on an application form, but also how you perform in this test. We would say, though, don't be discouraged by it or don't feel that you shouldn't complete it if you're worried it will hinder your application. It won't. It will only support your application. Employers are just keen to see that other aspect of who you are, and this suitability assessment or aptitude test can be really helpful for employers as they look through applications. So we really strongly advise you to take the time to complete it. And we also recommend that you take time to make sure that you have 35 minutes or so undisturbed, that you'll be able to complete this assessment without any distractions, with good Wi-Fi access, so that you can complete this, because you only get one chance to complete it. So it's important that you're thinking through carefully about setting yourself a space and time that you can complete that. Um, so that in itself is almost like a third part of the Workplus application. And we've talked through the profile, which is the first part, which is your qualifications and your longer answer questions. We've talked through the second part, which is completing your application to the specific apprenticeship types and then ranking your employers, which you must do for your application to have been successfully completed. And then that is the third part of your Workplus application, which we strongly encourage you to take the suitability assessment. Once you've completed all that, it's just down to kind of waiting until the deadline, waiting to see whether employers contact you. Just as a reminder of the timeline, employers will be shortlisting behind the scenes the week after the deadline to apply. So you won't hear anything from employers that week. They're working behind the scenes, shortlisting applications. But if they would like to invite you for interview, they will be in touch from the 4th of March to invite you for interview, and they'll be contacting you directly via your email address that you've provided or via phone number. So do keep an eye out on those, and do make sure that you're replying to them or contacting them at your earliest convenience. And then from the 25th of March, if you've been successful at interview stage, you may receive an offer for an apprenticeship. And again, just a reminder that you must make a separate application to the training provider, so to the college or university, and we encourage you to do that at the same time as your Workplus application, so that you avoid disappointment if you don't get that in on time. But that is a quick walk through the application process. Hopefully that's covered most things, as well as giving you a few tips and tricks of things to include. We're really excited that you've joined us on this call, and we're excited to see your applications come through if they haven't already. But if there's anything there that you would like to ask a question of, please do submit your question, and we will move on to the time for Q&A now.
Thanks for that, Lucy. There have been quite a few questions coming in during your presentation, and just to reinforce that the session today has been recorded and it'll be made available in the coming days as well. So thank you, Lucy, for taking us through that.
No problem. Okay, so to start with the first question for you, Richard, someone is asking, are there any sports apprenticeships?
So thanks for that question. That's fantastic. So at this point in time, there aren't any apprenticeships in the areas of, say, sports science or physiotherapy. Unfortunately, that's not the case. However, there are some apprenticeships with a sports technology company called Kairos that we work with. So whilst it's not a hands-on sports apprenticeship, it is in that sports technology area, but it would be for a software development business technology role. So that's the only one that we have in that space currently, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Great.
There were a few other questions just as we were going through that have been answered already. I just want to draw attention to those for folks, if that would be helpful. So a question came through about what point in the year, and Lucy made the point of saying that our applications are open until the 23rd of February, and then we will run subsequent campaigns during this year. So you can keep your eyes open for those, and we'll be in touch by email about that. Question coming in here about the maximum age limit. Well, the good news is that apprenticeships are open to everyone, regardless of age. So that's not a defining factor anymore, which is great. Question coming in here about different levels. Yes, I know it can be extremely complex. Many years ago, levels didn't mean anything to me either. So levels are just a way of talking about equivalent qualifications. So we think about GCSEs, BTEC, A-level degree, but how do we work out whether these are equivalent to each other? And that's what we talk about when we mean levels. So in the answered section of our Q&A, there's an FAQ link, and you can go to our FAQ page, and we explain the levels in that section of our website. So hopefully that's helpful. Another question coming in here about do I have to have confirmed employment before applying to a university? Well, it's really important that you do the application to college or university at the same time as your application through Workplus. It's the apprenticeship needs to have both parts, and we don't want to get to the point where you're accepted by the employer, you get your results if you're finishing at school in August, and then you don't have the course secured, and then you're not able to become an apprentice. So we would encourage you to apply, and Lucy has shown that that all can all be done at the touch of a button within the Workplus pages, where we give you the link to go and apply to that particular course. So those are some of the questions coming through. A couple more, Lucy, have come in there. Just do you want to pick up on those? And
Yes, Richard, there's a question here about apprenticeships that would lead to a future career in building surveying. Do you want to touch on those?
Yeah, yeah. So there are a number of construction related apprenticeships that we have. So some are at an entry level, and then some are in, say, quantity surveying. There isn't a building surveying degree apprenticeship just yet, but there are plenty within the construction sector in those professional roles. So that's something that you could look into.
Great. And a last question through here. Um, Someone is asking if they need to apply to the employers before the universities.
Yes, so very, very similar to the previous question. We're trying to make it easier for you to apply to multiple employers in one place. And this is why we're doing it at this time of the year. So you can be sure that the employer has a place for you, and that you're successful at getting the job part of the apprenticeship. So we would encourage you to do both at the same time where possible.
Great. And there was another one that just came in there, but I think you've almost answered it. Someone's asking, is it possible to get an offer from an employer but not a university? And if so, what happens?
Well, the universities and the colleges and the government that funds the universities and colleges, because back to Lucy's point, you don't pay any fees. They are really keen to have more apprentices coming on board, and getting the employer is critical to that. So we have never had the issue where someone has got employment and then hasn't been accepted onto the course, provided obviously that you get the right qualifications to be able to get onto the course. So don't worry about that. Let's get you matched up with an employer through this campaign, and then the course application through college or university will be the easier part, provided you get the qualifications to prove that you're eligible for that particular course.
Great. I
Well,
think those are all the questions. Mhm.
brilliant, brilliant. Well, Lucy, thanks for guiding us through the application process. That was really clear, and as we've said already, the session today has been recorded, so will be made available. The chatbot on our website is there for you to use. Please do get in touch with us if you have any queries at all about your application. We're really excited that so many applications have already come in, and we'd encourage you to take a second look at your application, even if you've already done it. Make the most of the time that you have between now and the 23rd of February. to try and improve that as much as you can based on the advice, great advice Lucy has given today. And we wish you every success, regardless of your next step, whether it's an apprenticeship or something else, where we really wish you all the best for that. Thanks so much again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much.